going to keep most writers don't tend to talk about. Where you test out your story, and this allows writers to experiment with different story elements before the actual writing begins. And it has allowed me to do it as well. That is why I'm talking about this, which most writers don't tend to talk about. This is a part of the writing and critiquing feedback loop. It's a sort of iteration that happens before you get into the whole process. So when you have an outline and you have character profiles and you have motivations, flaws and strengths and weaknesses and growth, and there's a storyline that's going on, you can move things around. You can say, okay, this storyline goes best here and that storyline might be best there. You can play around with your story's narration. So you can also add in things like their key elements like certain documents, scene lists, character profiles, and certain areas that they might travel through. You just put that out in your outline. So you can experiment with different outlining approaches and see what suits your preference and what enhances your storytelling. So you combine the character's intrinsic motivation within your outline. So you have a nice strong foundation. It's like the building process. When you're starting a building, you plan out the outline of your building, how many rooms you're going to have, and then you start planning the rest of the elements within it. How many chairs are going here, where the beds go, and all those other little things, the curtains and the frills and things like that. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask. You can put it in the comments. What you need to do while writing is to prevent your mistakes and to allow you to finish your fantasy story, because you need to finish it. You need to get over the blocks you have in your writing and things that you think are stopping you from finishing your writing. So this is what you need to do, what I've seen other writers do as well, and what I have incorporated within my writing system is to build an effective writing system. So we're going to explore that in detail. First we're going to do is we're going to set realistic writing goals. We're going to break down our writing goals into smaller achievable tasks. This is just goal setting, simple goal setting, and we're doing this to maintain momentum. So you set a daily or weekly word count, and this is your target word count, so that you have some tangible objectives. You're seeing what can I do, and you're seeing how much I can do, how much can you do. So you're setting challenging targets for yourself, but you're not setting unrealistic expectations. You're not telling yourself you're going to write 100,000 words in 2 weeks or something like that, which would be unrealistic for you to do. You're going to focus on chunking it down on manageable tasks that are going to contribute to your larger goal. So how you're going to fit that in is you're going to set a certain number of words that you're going to write, and that's going to be set within a certain time. So you're going to have a consistent writing time. So you're going to write for a certain amount of time each day, which is going to contribute towards the amount of time that you write each week, and you make it non-negotiable. So you have certain non-negotiables in your life, and now you're going to make your writing routine as a non-negotiable, where you're going to set a certain time aside, morning or lunch or evening after your work, although evening time might be a little harder because you're already tired. So I think it's better to do it either in the morning before you start your work or during lunchtime, maybe 10 or 15 minutes a day. So those can be achievable. Just start off with a small amount of time. And these are going to contribute towards your small little victories. You're going to hold yourself accountable because you are the one who has to do the writing. It's not going to be somebody else. You are building a skill. Remember, this is a skill you're building. You can't outsource your own skill building to someone else. There's certain things that you have to do yourself. And writing consistently is going to develop a habit of self-discipline. So you are going to be accountable to yourself. So you can either join a writing group where you get somebody else or a group of people who will hold you accountable, and you can discuss your challenges and goals with them. That is a social part. And also it helps you in getting peer support in your goal setting and in your goal achievement. So you can either do that or you can hold yourself accountable. There are ways to hold yourself accountable, but I'm not discussing that right now. That's a whole other video. So if you want me to make a video on that, then please leave that in the comments. Now we go on to the next one, which is where you have to eliminate distractions. Now I can tell you from experience that sometimes there'll be a lot of noise happening around you. There might be people doing their nonsense. So you have to be clear that this is your certain time where you are going to be writing. And there might be somebody who'll say, okay, we have this party coming up and we want you at this party, and you know that this party is going to probably take a week of your time. So you have to ask yourself, are you going to take your time and put it into that party for a week or two, or are you going to keep that week or two for your writing? Because if you got a goal, you have to be very clear about your writing goals. So if going to a party or hanging out at a bar or a pub is going to take away from your writing, then you need to be very clear that that is a distraction and you have to stop doing that. Whatever it is, whether it's scrolling social media for 1 hour, 45 minutes a day, or whether it's going to a pub or a bar for that time, or whether you're going to a party that's going to take away a week of your time, you have to decide where your priority lies. Where is your focus? And that leads us to the next thing. You are going to reward yourself. You're going to celebrate your small achievements. You write one chapter, you celebrate. Maybe you are going to reward yourself with a really good cup of coffee. It's going to be like a la carte, expensive coffee. Do it. Or this is the achievement of a milestone. Or it could be really simple. You could just celebrate by taking a walk if that is your favorite activity. Or go and then spend 10 minutes on social media as a reward for finishing that chapter. But you're going to be very clear that you're only going to celebrate after you have reached your milestone. And you are the one who decides what your milestone is going to be. The next is you are going to create a writing ritual. Your writing ritual is something that's going to signal to your brain that you are going to go into creative mode. So you might have a cup of coffee, you might listen to a certain song, a particular piece of music, or you might prepare by simply picking up your pen. It could be as simple as that. Or you're going to have a certain ritualistic thing, like some people have action figure, whatever it is. You pick that up and you place that in front of you, if that is your thing. So that becomes your little ritual, and you do that before you start writing. It's going to help you into smoother transition into your writing flow. So you're going to have a focused writing session. Now the thing is, talking about distractions, going back to a previous point, you've got to be flexible. You have to have flexibility as a writer, because there are things that are going to happen. People get sick, you might need to help them, or certain things might happen. You can't stop these certain things or silly nonsense from happening, because life is inherently unpredictable. So you have to build flexibility into your writing system, because you have to adapt to changing circumstances. You have to embrace change and embrace your growth. That has to be part of your growth plan, your personal growth plan. So you have to have a backup plan and adjust your schedule when needed. So when an obstacle happens, then you can consider it as an opportunity to demonstrate your adaptability and build resilience. So you're going to also see that if something unexpected happens, can you use that in your storytelling itself? Don't let that go by just like that. You have to take a note. So this is another part. Take notes if something unexpected happens and it's causing you problems. That's going to help you in your writer's journey. You're going to try and find ways around problems. This whole life is full of problems. Most of them are artificially created. People causing problems for other people. And sometimes you just can't get around that. You have to work with it. So you have to find ways to figure out the solutions to those problems. And that's how you're going to help yourself finish your goal. And the last part is you're going to track your goal. You're going to track your progress. What have you done? This is part of accountability. This last part is where you keep a writing journal or an app to track your progress. And every week, you're going to do this as a weekly thing. You're going to practice reflecting on your writer's journey. And that's going to build up and enhance your self-awareness. So you're going to document what worked well during your writing sessions and all the problem areas that need improvement. And it doesn't even need to be a problem area. You just have a look and see how you're going to do better. This extra part is going to be a boost. You are going to see what went well, and you're going to see how you can make that even better. How can you optimize your writing? Make it better. Or how are you going to make it more fun? How are you going to enjoy? How are you going to enjoy your writing? So what you're going to do is use a writing system. You're going to build up your own writing system, which is tailored to your lifestyle and preferences. So this is a dynamic process. It's going to keep changing. But you're going to put in these things: consistent writing time, have realistic goals, you're going to be accountable, and you're going to have accountability. You're going to eliminate distractions as much as possible. You're going to give yourself rewards. You're going to be flexible, and you're going to also have writing rituals, and you're going to track your progress. So this is going to create a framework that supports your writing goals. So writing a fantasy novel or a sci-fi novel is a thrilling endeavor, but it has its own set of challenges. So you're going to have a bunch of skills to write your fantasy novel. So some parts of your writing might not be engaging enough for you. You might be struggling with the scene or get stuck in some part. So what we're going to do is we're going to transform some scenes and make sure that you find your writing process enjoyable. So what you're going to do is avoid all dry scenes. Instead of having your characters engaging in a simple conversation within the confines of a room, consider changing it up. Can you place them on a mission or a situation with high stakes, and have the conversation take place during the high stakes? So this gets excitement in your narrative and not only captivates the reader's attention, but you are the one enjoying the process. Like, oh, now these guys have all this happening and all these problems are happening and the stakes are very high, and the narrative automatically changes because the characters are now engaging in activities and they're talking about things that are happening in the scene. So the dialogue is scene driven. What you're going to do next is you can link your information to what is happening in the scene itself. So with the dialogue and with the actions, you are now getting the reader involved with what is happening in the context of the scene itself. So if you've written in something that's boring and it's mundane and it's not captivating you, just feel free to cut it out. Even this video itself, I don't know how much of it I would be cutting out in the end. When I start my videos, there might be a certain length of time. Like if I create a 30-minute video, by the time I finish editing the video, it'll probably be 14 or 15 minutes. So I've cut out about 50% of the initial video. So when you're writing your draft, don't worry about what you're writing. Just keep writing, because when you finally edit it, you're going to be slashing out a number of uninteresting things. So you might cut out 20% or 30% of your final book. So you don't need to have a whole lot of intricate details that are going to tire the reader. So you focus on the destination, not too much on the journey itself. So you can do scene skipping. It's perfectly all right. Like in comic books, there are often scene skips, and in games, there are scene skips. So do it. You can skip scenes that don't really contribute a lot. And this is where design thinking comes in, because you are always thinking about the end reader when you are editing. How would my reader like this? How do I keep my reader engaged? So you're thinking of it from your reader's viewpoint. So that's part of design thinking, which is the end user. So when you're thinking of the end user, we come to the next part. First, who is the first end user? That would be yourself, because you are the one who's reading your book first. So have a look when you are in a creative slump. Just look at your story and see which parts you don't like. Try cutting those out, and then move on to the parts you do like. So what are the parts that excite you? And you are like, oh yeah, I really like this bit. I can write more about that. So just get into it. Why not? Who is stopping you? No one. It's you. You're the one who's got this critical voice in your head saying, oh, somebody else might not like that. You become your first end user, and if there's something in it you like, you carry on with it. If at the end of the writing of the book you don't like it, you can always cut it out. But to get your writing passion reignited, you focus on the parts that bring you joy. What you're going to do is what kind of fantasy tropes you enjoy, because there will be certain things that resonate with you, certain things that gel with you. And if that's the thing that you like in somebody else's story, those are the kind of writing tropes that you like, then feel free to incorporate it in your own writing journey. This is going to reignite your passion and make you happy. So the goal is not just to finish your fantasy novel, but it's to enjoy the journey of crafting your novel. Enjoy it. Focus on what's interesting to you. Make the scenes interesting. Just feel free to slash out any details that you find boring. Just cut scenes ruthlessly and focus on the exciting part. Find out how you can be a fan of your own work. This thing of writing a book, crafting your fantasy novels, your science fiction novels, your sci-fi work, whatever you are writing, this is about you. your writing skill is about you. You're building skills, and ultimately building these skills is about building yourself. So it's all about you.